Hey, Slothmaster here. Well, it's been a long and interesting and fun season 2, but I think we're drawing to a close. All of the content that's going to be released is all the items we can get are known to us. People are figuring out the perfect builds for Abattoir of Zir, um, and other people like me are stuck in the past, enjoying their ridiculous builds that are completely unsuitable for the abattoir. But we love them. We love our stupid builds, and we won't let them go. So here's mine. This is the perfect version of it, just made possible recently by the addition of a new offensive aspect, the Shard of Dawn, which gives you movement speed and attack speed. So the three core pillars of my HotA build are attack speed, life stealing, and refunding 100% of your resource cost. So as you can see here, I'm running around. I'm actually holding the right click. I'm just dragging my cursor around the screen, and anything that gets close to me, he just bashes and it explodes, usually in one hit. And I have up to 200% bonus attack speed. I've got both my caps at 100%, so my HotA is hitting more than 3 times a second. Every time I hit, I'm getting life back from Andariel's Visage, from Undying Vampiric Power, Humomancy is healing me, and Invigorating Fury is healing me multiple times a second sometimes. With all the Fury I'm spending, I also have Warbringer, so I'm generating 15% of my max life as Fortify multiple times a second sometimes. The only way I can die is if I get one-tapped or enough big enemies hit me back to back without me hitting in between. Because the way Andariel's works is its healing is proportional to the damage you deal, and I cap my health every time I hit with that. It's awesome. It's fun. But I don't have a lot of DR. I don't have Doombringer. I don't have Shaco. I don't have Grandfather, so I don't have a lot of life either. So if I go any higher than this, I'll probably die. Probably saw me die a few times, or almost die a few times there. And this is just a tier 5, so don't get excited. I am terrible at this game, apparently. I don't even know why I have a barrier right here. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, it's a fun build. You just run around real fast, crushing everything. Completely unsuitable for Abattoir of Zir, though, because nothing dies in one hit, and the bosses aren't bosses, even though they have more health than anything in the game. So Unrelenting Fury just doesn't work. But rather than change, I stubbornly stuck to my guns and just tried to enjoy what I could. Anyway, I thought some people might enjoy the build, so here it is. Alright, so let's talk about the build real quick. I'll try to keep it short, because there's a lot of other stuff to talk about that's way more fun. You could probably just look this up on the planner, which I'll link in the video description. So the core pillars of my character I want to talk about are attack speed, life stealing, and fury generation, refund specifically. So my favorite aspect here, unrelenting fury. 30% of the core skills base cost is refunded when you hit a boss or kill an enemy. We can crank that up to 100% with the right stats. So you'll notice I've got 16.2% resource gen on my ring, 27.4% on my red ring of fur, 18.5% on my banished lord's talisman, and no, I don't have Shaco. Using Andes. Sometimes I use Tuskhelm. Where else do I have resource generation? Willpower gives me 20% because I have 665. And there's also, where is it? They need more buttons. And this doesn't. S, go to the skill tree. No, it doesn't. So here's 18% Prolific Fury. Oh yeah, 30% Enhanced Hammer of the Ancients. So if you multiply up 30% here, 18% there, 20% for my willpower. This amount maxed, maxed, maxed. I have just enough fury. You'll notice it's not dropping. Oh, just a little bit. Some of my rolls could be a little better. But I'm refunding almost 100% of my fury cost. Oh, you'll also notice my attack speed is ridiculous. So I think every HotA is costing me 1. Yeah. If this were a little better, I think that would be perfect. So you'll notice also, I don't play the game like this usually. This is only for demonstration purposes. I have Unconstrained here. If I'm clearing something where everything's really weak, yeah, I'll run that. But usually you want Unbridled Rage because it's the best. Unfortunately, this doubles the Fury cost and does not double the Refund because this is base cost. So I'll show that. Let me just pop a few things so that we... Alright, you'll notice I'm actually breaking even here because with Rallying Cry and Wrath of the Berserker, I have the perfect amount to generate everything I need. But even if I maintain Berserking and 10 stacks of Enhanced HotA, it's not enough. 159, 118. Every hit's costing me like 35. Because before I doubled the cost, I was refunding 100%. And now I'm only refunding 50%. That's so sad. But like I said, if you just pop this and this, the math works out almost perfectly to bring that up to your double your cost. If you have Shaco, everything's easier. Of course, everything's better with Shaco. Don't have it. Too bad. So we'll talk about the attack speed. So I've got 70% here, 48%, wish it was 50 here. I've got, what else do I have? Oh, the base attack speed, just from gear, 43.8. That's Andy's, red ring, and gloves. I have too much. I don't need the gloves, but there's really nothing better for gloves. Maybe strength or overpowered damage. Oh, I already have overpowered damage. Am I missing something? No. Anyway, lucky hit, but that, you don't need that. Anyway, so if I get all my buffs up at once... well, I can't, because that's expensive. So let's do this. There we go. Alright, so we've got... I think Ravenous. Now it's Ravenous. We're going pretty fast, but we don't have Shard of Dawn. Come on. Any second now. There it is. So while I have Ravenous, let me check my attack speed. 200%, yeah. So that's the cap. Yeah, there's cap 1, there's cap 2. Each one's 100%. Together they make 200%. So that's fun. Swinging that fast is pretty cool. And then I've also got my healing sources, Hemo, Undying, Andes, and yes, where is it? Invigorating Fury. So every time I spend 100 Fury, heal 9% of my life. If I'm attacking 3 times a second with HotA, I'm triggering this every 2/3 of a second. I'm triggering this a lot. Yeah, healing a lot. That's fun. The more aggressive I am, the more healing I receive. So it rewards me for playing aggressively. And I can play aggressively because I've got crazy attack speed. It's really fun, and HotA refunds itself, so I don't have to worry about maintaining a rotation in the middle of all that insanity. HotA swinging at like more than 3 times a second, you don't want to have to weave lunge or whirlwind into that. It's not going to work. So that's the build. Real quick, I'll just show a few other things. Of course, you want total armor and some resistance and some DR. This chest is the worst. I hate it. But it's, you know, it's my chest, so there you go. Obviously, attack speed, crit chance, overpower, and you want Relentless Berserkers on your gloves, unless you put it on your boots, so you can get another offensive aspect on your gloves. Tibbs will, especially in Season 2 with Metamorphosis, giving you Unstoppable like every 4 seconds or 2 seconds or something. This is great. Plus it has Maximum Resource, which HotA scales directly off of, and damage reduction, which is always good. Your boots, poison resistance, movement speed, and you might want to get damage reduction while injured on boots and then move one of these resistance rolls somewhere else. You could also get DR while injured on your legs if you're running legendary legs. Obviously, we're going with standard 4 offensive affixes, stats, strength, overpower, and berserking. Not in that order, but that's the order they're in here. This mace really needs to get re-rolled, but I'm sick of giving the occultist money. I'm running Limitless Rage. I wish this was Edgemasters. Limitless has a bigger modifier, but Edgemasters is more reliable. Sometimes you don't overgenerate Fury, so this frequently will do nothing for you, and that sucks. Ancestral Force, always got to run it. Shard of Dawn, and Accelerating. So these, if I really wanted to optimize my DPS, I would not have these on two-handers, because the more attack speed you have, the less valuable each additional source of attack speed is, because they all go to the same bucket. They don't multiply, they add. That's sad, but I can't stop. I can't help it. I need more speed all the time. Too much. There's no hope for me now. Save yourself. Yeah, and then after 100 Fury spent, we crit. After 300 Fury spent, we overpower. Sadly, these don't sync up for HotA. Every 5th cast will overpower, every 2nd cast will crit, so every 10th HotA is guaranteed to crit overpower. I wish it was like every 5th HotA. Upheaval has the benefit of every 4th Upheaval is a crit overpower because it's just a little bit more expensive. Sadly, we don't get that benefit, but Upheaval does basically suck in every way other than that compared to HotA, so I guess I can't complain. Yeah, let's see the skills. 2 in lunge, because, yeah, HotA maxed. And then I get these. Some people are like, hey, this doesn't help you versus ground effects, and that's the only thing that kills you, so you're wasting your points. Yeah, I don't know. We need to test it. 3 in Rallying Cry, 3 in Challenging Shout. I do like this. You can actually spam HotA with Unrelenting Fury and Unbridled Rage, despite the extra cost, if you're also taking damage at the same time. So this actually makes a big difference. Put these here. Anything that touches you starts bleeding. That makes your disobedience stack up. These are great. 10%'s not awesome, but whatever. Booming Voice is good. Guttural Yell, I love it. If you do 3 shouts at once, you'll be protected 12% from each of them. So sometimes it's nice to just leave your shouts off cooldown until you need them. I don't have Swiftness, but kind of wish I did. Pit Fighter. Yeah, screw Pit Fighter. Damage reduction from distant is the worst, and I don't want to spend 1 skill point on 3% damage. That is depressing. Yeah. Need Prolific Fury. Anywhere we can get 4% damage reduction per skill point is good. Everybody loves counteroffensive. I hate it. I don't even want to look at thick skin. I only get it to get down here. And then if we're getting 12% increased damage for 4 points, that's 3% per point. That sucks. Almost as bad as Pit Fighter. Screw you, counteroffensive. I'm not sorry. I want 5% damage per skill point. Yeah, voila. Heavy-handed. Let's go. Brute Force is awesome. Yeah, Invigorating Fury, talked about that. Wrath of Berserker, great. And Unbridled Rage, of course. Okay, let's look at the Paragon. I go up the left because max life and armor scale way better than additive damage. Additive damage is terrible. This is probably only going to increase your damage by like, what? If we have 3,000 overpower damage, how much is another 5 going to help? Right? This is, you'll never notice a difference, but you'll always notice a difference on having more max life. Yeah, so I put Ire here. I don't saturate it with more strength because each one more point of strength that I could get is going to give me like 1% more DPS, and I'd have to waste a point branching out to it. It's not worth it. I go up the right side because armor is better than physical damage, more added damage, right? Armor, the more armor you have, the more valuable it is. The more additive damage you have, the worse it is. Obviously, we're going to go this way. Fix your scaling. Yeah. Okay, so we get everything we can near Tears of Blood, and we put it here because we want to give bonuses to damage reduction from close enemies. We need more damage reduction and damage while berserking. That's additive, but it actually gives us a multiplicative bonus, so we love it. And I get more damage while berserking down here. This cluster is not as good. I don't know why this bonus is half as much compared to this, and this seems like a mistake. Don't like this cluster, but I'm on a fool's errand for more attack speed, so I'm going to Carnage anyway. May as well just get that while we're there. I like to path this way into Blood Rage and go through the damage reduction nodes and then multiply them up with Martial or Might. Another good glyph to put here is one that requires Wisdom, because you can just put 1, 2, 3, 4, and you've satisfied it. You go down here, grab Blood Rage, it's the best. Go over here, grab these. 1% more damage, 1% more damage, 1% more damage, 4% more damage, yeah. A note on Berserk duration, you should have enough, because you can't avoid it, to make Warcry give you Berserking for 6 seconds, except it can't. Cap is 5, so don't get more Berserk duration. You're already over cap, probably. Same thing over here, don't get Berserk duration. You get some more from this node, it's already too much. More damage while berserking. I flipped this around like a weirdo because I don't like these nodes, and it would take 11 more points to get this glyph, and maybe that's a good thing. You could throw a glyph in here with 10% DR, spending 11 points for 10% DR is not terrible, especially if I'm dying. But I don't really want to remove these from my board to like add a glyph here. I kind of resent this cluster down here. I don't want to go close to it. Yeah, so anyway, grab the Max Fury because HotA loves it. You get some more life. Warbringer's awesome. I spend 75 Fury almost 3 times a second, so this is really keeping me alive. More Max Fury. Fury on Kill. Fury on Kill is kind of bad, but I don't mind it. I think Unrelenting Fury is giving me like 10.5 Fury every time I kill. Another 3. Okay, I'll take it. And then I path up through Fire Resistance. So if you get Red Ring of Fur has Fire Resistance. If your other ring has Fire Resistance, and then you pick up these Fire Resistance nodes here, you are capped. You don't need a gem, you don't need a roll, and an affix. I like that. I especially like that because there's max life here. Anytime I can get max life while getting something else that is awesome, I want to. Here's Bonebreaker. I don't get Bonebreaker. Okay, I overpower every 5th HotA. That's happening. Like I hit HotA 3 times a second. Okay, I overpower more than once every 2 seconds. Adding Bonebreaker is going to make almost no difference at all. That's not worth it. I do like this cluster here. Damage reduction while fortified supposedly is very good, but every time I get hit, I'm suddenly no longer fortified. So it kind of feels like it's designed poorly, and I don't like it, and I want to avoid it out of spite. I don't like the way Fortify works, and screw Fortify. I'm not getting this cluster. I don't like it. I wish I had enough points for this cluster. Armor and max life is awesome. This is like my favorite cluster in the entire board. But, you know, what are you going to do? So might here because we want to multiply up our damage reduction while healthy. Unfortunately, the second you're no longer healthy, you lose this, and that's when you actually need damage reduction. But whatever. Take it. And then Decimator. A little bit of damage reduction from vulnerable enemies. A lot of times I don't bother making things vulnerable because they die too fast. But if it's a boss, I will. I wish I had more points. I would grab more DR versus vulnerable. But I've got like 10 here. So, hey, can't complain. What did I put here? Oh, yeah, Crusher. Good old Crusher. 30% more overpower damage. Gotta love it. And yeah, so pathing through here didn't waste much at all. That's a nice place for it. And then Decimator. I'm not sure if I like Decimator. It is bugged. It only procs sometimes when the enemy's vulnerable. For some reason, it always works in the test chamber. So, I don't know what's up with that. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I wanted to generate a bunch of fury and then demonstrate how. Yeah, so we got our Decimator. If I did this in a dungeon, it would probably not work. If you're hitting a ton of stuff all at once, it's gonna work sometimes. Why is everything broken, I wonder? Anyway, I kind of want to remove this out of spite because it sucks. I mean, it's good, but it just doesn't work, so whatever. It's there. Yeah, so that's the board. Could use a little work. I like it, though. So that's that. That's the build. Alright, so if you made it this far through the video, you saw the showcase, you saw the build guide, now it's time for dessert. We're going to talk about the math. So what makes this build tick? So the core principles of the build are resource generation, attack speed, and healing, or more specifically, lifesteal, I'll call it. So resource generation. Every build needs resource generation. Our source of generating fury is unrelenting fury. I'll just call it UF. It gives 30% of your base cost every time you hit a boss or kill an enemy. So HotA's base cost is 35. So this gives us, every time we hit a boss or kill an enemy, 10.5 fury. Okay, so that's not enough to pay for HotA. We need 18.5% on a ring. We need 27%, is it 27.4 on Red Ring of Fur. We need 18.5% on our Banished Lord's Talisman. We need 20% from having about 600 willpower. You can't see that. Let me just fix that. There we go. So we've got, let me move these over. We've got Ring, we've got Red Ring of Fur, we've got Banished Lord's Talisman, we've got 600 will. There's 18% for Prolific Fury, I think, is the passive. When you're berserking, you get 18% resource generation. There's also Shaco. I don't have it. I'm going to pretend nobody has it, and we don't need it for this. And, oh yeah, I'm missing something. This is Ancient Fury. This is the stacking buff you get from Enhanced Hammer of the Ancients. It stacks 10 times. Each stack gives 3%. They're additive, not multiplicative. Pretty sure I tested that, calculated it out. So in order to figure out what our total resource generation would be, I'm actually going to move willpower to the side for a second. We're going to take these percents, which are totally useless, and add 1 and turn it into an actual number. So this is the multiplier. So you take the fury you would generate, multiply it by that. That's the fury you actually generate. I get why they put things in the percent format. It's easy to talk about, but it's not easy to do mathematical analysis with, so I don't like it. So here's the multipliers for those 5 effects. If we want to see what our total multiplier is, these all multiply together independently. So we're going to do the product of all of those, and I'm actually going to take the last row, even though there's nothing in it. So I'm going to turn this back into a percent, taking that minus 1, write it as a percent. So if we had a perfect rolled ring with resource generation, red ring of fur, BLT, we had berserking up with 3 points in prolific fury. I'll just put a 3/3 here, it's easier to remember what it is. And then ancient fury, which I'll actually call enhanced HotA. Our stat sheet should say 174%. Now you're probably wondering, hey, what about the willpower? Well, that's not in the stat sheet. I don't know why, but it's a thing, so let's just throw it into the equation as well. All right, so now our resource generation is 229% or 3.293. So if we multiply that by the fury, the unbuffed resource generation, we get 34.57. That's almost the cost of HotA. And you may have noticed in the video, my HotA was paying for itself. That's probably because I have a little bit extra willpower, or there's a rounding error or something that just makes this 35. Anyway, I'm happy with it. Not going to complain about that. So what happens if you run Unbridled Rage? HotA's cost is 70. Do you actually get double the refund? 21. That would be nice, because then if we did, our total refund after resource generation would be 70 almost, which is exactly what we need. However, it doesn't work like that. Unbridled Fury actually gives you 30% of the base cost. So if you run Unbridled Rage, you are not going to get 70. You're just going to get this times this. You're just going to get 35. You'll be paying for half of a HotA every time you hit. If you also have Shaco, let's do a few more lines here. I'm going to make some space down here. Well, let's skip Shaco for a second. All right, made 3 extra lines. We're going to extend this range, C7 to C12. How about this whole range here? Okay. So technically this cell is 0, and Excel is smart enough to not multiply by 0. Thank you, Bill Gates. Yeah. So let's do Rallying Cry, Wrath of the Berserker, and Shaco, I guess, because it exists. It's probably 18.5%, I think, like the others. Wrath of the Berserker is 30. Rallying Cry is, I believe, 40% base, but you can add 20% on top of that, which we do want to. So let's drag these down. And so let's just pretend we don't have Shaco for a sec here. All right, we get 6.85. And if we multiply our base, 10.5 times 6.85, we get, boom, enough. So what this means is if you do run Unbridled Rage, you actually need 6.67 to break even. That's a bonus of 567%. You can get that with all this stuff plus popping Rallying Cry and Wrath of the Berserker. Of course, if you have Shaco, everything's a little bit easier. Literally everything in the whole game is easier. So yeah, then we'd be overproducing 85, and we could max out Limitless Rage with every hit. That sounds nice. So that's Fury Generation with Unrelenting Fury. Sweet. So now we're going to talk about attack speed. Take these, and I'll make a new sheet out of them. Let's make a new sheet. There we go. We're going to zoom right in. All right, so attack speed, there's 2 caps. A lot of other people have talked about this in more depth than I will, so don't fret. If you want to learn more, you can see their videos. I'll link those afterwards. For my use case, cap 1 includes affixes on gear, Ravenous, thank God, and actually that's all I run. Moonrise is also here, I believe, which is nice. Yeah, pretty sure that is. Then there's cap 2. This is accelerating, rapid, the new aspect, Shard of Dawn. What's it called? Carnage, legendary node. So just make a little space here, and why don't I actually do it like this? So we're gonna put cap 1 here. I'm gonna merge these and center it. About that. A little box on that. Good. All right. So then these ones are cap 2. There's a lot of other things in these different categories that I haven't talked about, obviously. Like I said, you can go find an exhaustive list for your class, and I'll share some resources for that. Anyway, affixes. So your gloves can have 15%. Red Ring of Furor also has 15%. Tusk Helm and Andariel's Visage both have 15%. Ravenous is 0.4 times your current movement speed, as long as you don't proc it with Metamorphosis, because Metamorphosis for some reason cuts your speed to 0, so you don't get that buff. Don't proc Ravenous with Metamorphosis. Let's just pretend you have 200% movement speed, that's the cap. Then you proc Ravenous, you get 80%. If you're running a basic build, Moonrise is 20%. We don't need all that. I actually, in my build, have Andariel's gloves and Red Ring of Furor, and I'm somewhere around 40%. And I'm okay with that. These add up and do go over 100, but they're capped at 100, so I'm not actually going to go over 100. I intentionally use more speed than I need because sometimes Ravenous doesn't hit this 80% mark if you proc it when you have uncapped movement speed. Like, how much would I actually need? 60%. Okay, what is 60%? What would I need to actually get that? 150 movement speed. Okay, I have over 20% on my boots. Ghostwalker gives me 25%. So right there, if I make sure I have Ghostwalker up when I proc Ravenous, I should be golden with 100% in cap 1. Cool. For cap 2, I do not run rapid because I'm not a basic build. I run accelerating. I put it on a 2-hander because I'm insane. Carnage goes up to 16%. Shard of Dawn goes up to 70% on a two-hander. Again, completely unnecessary, wasteful. Don't recommend this. Only do this if you're an insane person. But it's nice because Shard of Dawn's not up 100% of the time, and I do want to be fast all the time. So, yeah, that's what I do. Just for fun. I'm not pushing Abattoir of Zir. I'm not, like, trying to flex. I'm just trying to laugh at the game being fast and fun and hilarious. So, those are my values. I think my accelerating is actually not a perfect roll, but that's okay. These still add up to 100% when capped. So my total attack speed will be plus 200%, which gives me an actual speed of, if we call it 200%, what is it actually? Because we like actual numbers. Let's turn this into a number. Right, so 3. So I'm tripling my attacks per second. HotA, I believe, measured it a while back and got 0.88 as the amount of time between swings, but I'm kind of inclined to believe that was an error. 0.9 is such a perfect number. I don't know, but I'm guessing that HotA's the skill's attack speed modifier is just around 1, just the digit 1. You hit with a two-handed hammer, its weapon speed is 0.9. HotA has a skill speed modifier of 1. HotA's speed is 0.9. Pretty sure that's probably the case. Anyway, so how long does it take to swing for HotA if we actually triple our speed? I mean, you can look at this and already guess the answer, but I'm going to flip this. So this is attacks per second, right? And if we triple the number of attacks per second, we've got 3.333. If we flip that again to get the number of seconds per attack, we get 0.3. Obviously, everybody at home guessed that, right? So, yeah, we're hitting more than 3 times a second with HotA at that speed. That's pretty awesome. I love it. Some things I want to mention about attack speed. Let's say you have your attack speed is plus 100%. So you're actually attacking at 2x your normal speed. If you were to pump this up with, let's say you put accelerating on a two-hander for plus 50%, and you're thinking, you know, most of my offensive aspects are somewhere between 20% to 30%. Accelerating is 25%, right in the middle. I like speed, so I'm going to put that on two-hander. It's going to give me 25% more DPS. Wrong. What you actually get is false. You get false. The end. No. So you actually get, it depends. It depends on your current speed. So if your current speed is plus 100% and you add 50% to that, you're going from a speed multiplier of 2 to a speed multiplier of 2.5. If we divide 2.5 by 2 to actually see how much our speed increased or how much our DPS increased, it's only 25% more. Yeah, 2.5 is 25% more than 2. So what happened here? We were expecting, we put accelerating on a two-hander. The buff on the aspect says 50%. We're thinking we're going to get 50% more DPS. But it doesn't work like that because the attack speed all goes into a bucket. It doesn't multiply together, it adds together. And the more you have in that bucket, the less valuable each incremental amount that you put on top of that is. So if you have no attack speed bonus at all and you add 10% to that, you're getting 10% more DPS. But if you're almost near the cap, you have 190%, and then you add 10% to that, Okay, I guess those are colored now. You're not going to get 10% more DPS. Oof, you're only getting 3.4% more DPS. So, again, it's because attack speed, all your attack speed bonuses add together, they don't multiply together. So the more of them you have, the worse they all are. And that's sad. Really sad. It's sad for balancing, accelerating, and balancing all your different attack speed modifiers. I've talked about this previously in a different video. The more you have additive bonuses instead of multiplicative bonuses, the more difficult it is to balance those because you don't know how much any individual player has, and how much each player has affects how good the bonus is. So it's actually impossible to balance it for everyone. So maybe they'll change that. Probably not. I think the math would be too weird. We'll just have to deal with the fact that attack speed will forever suck because it's additive. Let's see. So that's attack speed. The fun of it. So the fun of attack speed, I think, is there's a lot of people running around with HotA, one-shotting bosses, or with Upheaval, clearing entire hallways full of trash with one hit. That's not that cool. I can do that at level 1, level 5, whatever. I can kill everything in one hit. That doesn't feel special to me to be able to do that at level 100. That just means to me that I didn't lose any power when I leveled up. I feel the same way I did at level 1, 100 hours later at level 100. In fact, I feel a little bit weaker because sometimes I don't one-shot things. What is mechanically, fundamentally different about the gameplay experience at level 100 versus level 1? One of the things is that you can crank up your attack speed. Instead of HotA feeling slow, it can feel fast. I think that's way more fun than getting big numbers because, like I said, the size of the number really only means something when you compare it to the size of the enemy's health pool. And when you first start out the game, you do way more damage than anybody has health, so we already know what that feels like. Unlocking that at level 100 is not special. It's just it just means you haven't lost anything. You didn't really gain anything. It's stupid. Attack speed is not stupid. You definitely feel different at 300% attack speed, plus 200%, I mean, than you do when you first start playing the game. It's cool. All right, so the third thing I want to talk about here, the third pillar of my fun build is lifesteal. So I run a bunch of lifestealing in my current version. I've got Andariel's Visage, I've got Hemomancy, I've got Dying, oh, and Invigorating Fury. Cool. So, for me, the fun of lifesteal is that my ability to survive depends on me being aggressive. The best defense is a good offense, which is, you know, a thing people say, but really means nothing in context. Let's talk about some good examples instead. The first-person shooter, the new version, Doom, you only get health. Is that right? It's either health or ammo that is so sparse throughout the level that the fact that you get it from killing enemies with these risky finishers that you have to do in melee, and then all the ammo and the health and the chainsaw fuel pops out of their body. It's like this wonderful moment of like fireworks and relief because you were stressed and scared and worried, but you couldn't go hide under a rock and wait for your health to recover. You had to go out there and fucking get it. And I love that. That feeling is awesome. Anything that discourages the player from actually playing the game is bad. Having to wait for cooldowns is bad. Having to go farm something from a boring boss who takes like 5-minute run through his hallway full of useless trash, and it's all gated behind farming summoning materials in this totally mindless, unchallenging environment. That's garbage. Games should be challenging. They should reward you for conquering the challenge, and they should require you to grow a pair and actually take risks. And if you just hang back and don't take risks, there should be nothing to gain from that. No risk, no reward. So lifesteal is a perfect encapsulation of that philosophy. I stay alive by attacking things, and if I can't keep attacking things, I'm probably going to die. Invigorating Fury. Every 100 Fury you spend, you gain 9% health. Undying. Every one attack, you gain, what is it, 3% health? And then if you're below 50%, it could be 6% health. It's doubled. Hemo heals you for 1% for every enemy you hit every 4 seconds. Andes heals you for 3% of the damage you deal. This is my favorite. You can kind of break the game by leaning all of your survivability on this, because the more damage you deal, the more survivability you get. And you can almost focus exclusively on that one aspect of your character, and there's this synergy that props up everything else. I love Andes. It's so much fun to use. My only problem with it is that I have like no damage reduction, and if I go too high in the Abattoir of Zir, I get one-shotted by stuff, and it's hard to heal when you're dead. So I don't actually have a chance to do that. That's frustrating. I think the itemization on Andes is god-awful. It's attack speed, which I'm way over the cap. It's 90% poison resist, which nobody needs. You only need 60. And I get that on boots and chest anyway. What else is on there? The 3% lifesteal, which is the cool thing about it, is like an affix, not the aspect for some reason. It's what's really unique about the piece, in my opinion. It's what defines it. Nothing else in the game that I know of steals a percentage of the damage you deal. So that should be the unique aspect, but it's not. The unique aspect is this stupid, disgusting cloud of poison. If I could remove the aspect from Andes and just have nothing, I would rather do that. I hate poison. It's obnoxious. And I need fewer ground effects. I can't see things that are killing me because there are so many freaking ground effects. So yeah, I can't even remember the fourth affix on Andes. It's like, oh, it's like 27 stats. 27 stats. That's like nothing. I have 600 willpower. Give me a break. Yeah, Hemo, every 4 seconds, 1% from everybody you hit. That's great. I would drop this. I have in the past. It's not often enough to like be reliable. Undying is really cool. The more attack speed you have, the more often this heals you. The more you need to be healed, the more it heals you. Great ability, great design, good synergy with attack speed, so I gotta love it. Again, like Andes, your survivability is proportional to your how aggressive you are, and that's awesome. Invigorating Fury, another great example. 9% healing per 100 Fury spent. The faster you attack, the more Fury you spend, the more this helps you. That's awesome. Love it. So yeah, that's the 3 pillars of my character. Life stealing, because of the synergy with aggression. Attack speed, because it makes the character feel different than he did at level 1. And it's hilarious. And I do not regret at all going way over the cap, because I can't stop. It's too late for me now. And then resource generation, because I just want to spam HotA. I just want to hold the right mouse button, point at things, and watch them explode, and not stare down at my UI tracking how many resources I have, or like switching to some shitty, weak second ability whose only purpose is to stop me from doing the good one. to like mix up the gameplay feel. That's not, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to like have their fun activity gated by an unfun activity. What kind of game design is that? Uh, I really wish the Abattoir of Zir bosses were actually bosses, so I could kill them with Unrelenting Fury. But they're not. Abattoir of Zir is just full of things that won't die in one hit and are not bosses, so my favorite resource aspect is completely useless. And rather than change my build, I just stopped playing. Because I don't think the other builds are fun. That's it. Yeah, never got Shaco either. Grinding Ubers is soul crushing. That's not fun. There's no sense of progress. You know, you can farm for a day, get nothing, and the next morning you are no closer to getting that than you were before. That's unsatisfying. A sense of progress is intrinsic to a satisfying game experience in my philosophy. So a system in which you make no incremental progress is just turns me off. It turns a lot of people off. A lot of people didn't want to grind the Tears of Blood glyph in Abattoir of Zir because it, you know, you beat tier 5 or tier 10 and you see your glyph, like the experience barely moves. It's like, why am I doing this? The combat is not that fun and engaging. We do it for the progression, and if there's no meaningful incremental progress, then it's unrewarding, obviously. Yeah, so yeah, that's my rant. That's my character philosophy. And I hope you enjoyed the build. If this is your kind of build, hopefully you enjoyed the math, and hopefully you didn't mind me just complaining for a while.